Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Golfing Greenkeeper podcast. My name is Steve Smith and I'm your host. This episode brings to you another segment of Colin Campbell Chemicals' Keeper of the Greens. This is episode number 65. I'm extremely proud to bring to you Keeper of the Greens once again, which is brought to you by Colin Campbell Chemicals. Colin Campbell Chemicals is a 100% Australian owned and operated company that is a leading supplier of crop protection products for the needs of the turf and broader horticultural industries right across Australia. Not only are Colin Campbell Chemicals Australian owned and operated, in 2020 they celebrated 80 years of being in business since their inception by Colin Campbell Sr. back in 1940 in Alexandria, Sydney. Colin Campbell Chemicals has always had a focus on developing new technologies and bringing solutions to the turf industry. Their product range is a testament to their continued focus into their 82nd year of business as a wholly Australian owned and operated company, with some of those products being produced right here in Australia. If you want to know more about how Colin Campbell Chemicals can help protect your turf, then you need to go to their website at campbellchemicals.com.au or talk to Nadeem directly, whose details are on the website under the Contact Us page. And don't forget to tell them that the Golfing Greenkeeper sent you. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you back to the Keeper of the Greens segment of the Golfing Greenkeeper podcast. As you know, I'm a big fan. We travel all over Australia talking to different superintendents and greenkeepers across the country to find out their story and where they're working and the sorts of details into the golf courses that they're looking after, but also a lot about their story, how they got into greenkeeping, where they come from, and what they love about it so much. So without further ado, we are going back all the way over to the far west of Australia, into the state of Western Australia, to a golf club called Busselton Golf Club, where I have on the line Superintendent Lance Knox. G'day, Lance.
How's it going?
Mate, it's going well at my end. How's it going over there in the west?
Oh, it's beautiful at the moment.
Beautiful at the moment. Now, do I sense sarcasm?
No, I can't complain too much about the weather because the guys over east are more wet than us. But yeah, at the moment she's a little bit wet.
But you have had some pretty hot temps over there, haven't you?
Summertime? More Perth. Yeah, summertime it was more Perth. We're about 2.5 hours south of Perth, and it's usually an average of 3 degrees cooler down here.
Oh, okay. Wow. Is it that much hotter in Perth? There you go.
Yeah. That's the way I look at it. It's about 3 degrees different. So if they're 30 degrees, we're usually about 27.
And if you go out the very far end of that enormous jetty you have, might be another 1 or 2 degrees cooler out in the water. What is that? A kilometre long from memory?
If anything, I think it's like 1.6.
Holy
a mile long.
A mile. There you go.
I think so. I can't quote me on that. I have a funny feeling it's longer than a kilometre. Yeah.
That's mad. Wasn't there some sort of tram tracks or something on there too? Don't they have like a little trail they used to?
Yeah, there's a train that goes to the end of the jetty.
That's the least they could do, right?
Yeah. So I'm not too sure the history of it, but pretty much it's it's for the boating back in the day or something, and they've just kept it going, and yeah, it's a good tourist destination for us.
It is,
yeah.
And if anyone's wondering, this is now a travel segment, talking about the tourist parts. No, mate, look, it's interesting parts of Busselton. It's a beautiful part of the world. I've been fortunate to be there, albeit when I was very, very young, and I do remember the giant jetty and just the way that the landscape changes when you're coming in, because we drove across Australia, as you do with a family of 5, 3 kids in the back seat, and we got to Kalgoorlie, and then we come across into Perth, and then as you go south from Perth, or even just coming in from the, a couple of hours out of Perth, an hour out of Perth, it's still quite dry, but then you go into Perth and you go south, and then everything starts to go all nice and east coasty as you get down to that southwestern corner. It's a beautiful part of the world. Beautiful.
Yeah. That's where in summer it's a bit different because it does the climate changes a bit. That 3 degrees from Perth to here, you can really feel it sometimes, and probably even more than 3 degrees really. But you can feel it, and yeah, it's a nice little pocket of of area here where all the wineries are and stuff like that. So it's perfect growing conditions down here.
Mate, you're already talking up that area of the southwest corner. It's beautiful. Beautiful. There's so many good I mean, we are sidetracked deluxe already, but there's so many good golf courses, good little golf destinations around wine country. I mean, it's like pairing good food and good wine. You pair good golf and good wine. It's just something that we do here. I don't know if they do it in other parts of the world, but Adelaide and the Barossa, you got the Hunter Valley in Sydney, the Yarra, then we go over to Perth and the Margaret River region and Southwest. I mean, how cool. So good.
Yeah, that's it. It was a big benefit through the COVID time when no one could leave WA. And so all the golf trips that used to go to Thailand and all that, they came down south. And the courses we've got here, we've got Bunbury, Margaret River, Dunsborough, us, Sanctuary, all in a half-hour radius from Busselton.
Very interesting. There you go.
Yeah. And so there was guys doing week trips, like all your members from bigger courses up south, up Perth, come down here for a week and playing golf every day, and it was a lot of good feedback in that way, and that's it's great.
A bit totally, very much so, but also a little bit of self-discovery. Like it's forcing people. This is the thing I learned talking to people who would normally travel overseas or wherever, that they're forced to travel locally. And they're seeing things that they didn't do. They're discovering golf experiences and golf courses they've, may not have played for 20 years, or places they didn't even, never thought they'd go to play. And some of them aren't big names at all, far from. And they're like, we just want to go and have a game because we haven't been able to go anywhere and have a game. So let's go somewhere different. And I know over here, people from Sydney have travelled over the mountains. They've gone Orange, or they've travelled north up to the Hunter Valley or the north coast of New South Wales. And you guys have clearly had the same sort of effect where they're travelling down south from Perth.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, golf doesn't stop. So if they want to try to go somewhere, they will. And yeah, that's it. It's been great for every course in WA really, but for the southwest, I think we've got a little on the map now of having some good golf courses down here.
Absolutely, and if I'm being honest, and I'll blanket this, if you travel, there's nothing to travel to north of Perth or northeast of Perth. It's all dry and it's in the outback. Nothing against that area, but
golf wise, no. There's some good courses up in Geraldton, and there is Broome and Karratha and all that. There's some good courses up there.
Hang on, what's that? 2,000 kilometres from Perth?
Yeah, it's still some beautiful areas up there.
Oh, there is, and they're very popular with the East Coast people. They travel. They love to travel up to those areas because they are absolutely beautiful and very uniquely so. It's very different to the East Coast of the country.
Yeah, no, some great places. And what we have here, most of the grade nomads go north right now. Get out of Busselton in winter and go north and follow the heat. So at the moment, we're busy up in Broome and Exmouth and all that from a lot of our members as well.
There you go. Interesting. Very interesting. But you do have, look, it's putting you guys on the map a little bit more, and we'll get into that a little bit further on. But, mate, let's start with Steve Super 7. Let's get, hang on, man, what's it been, 10 minutes? Let's get this podcast underway. Now, you ready for the short fire, quick questions of Steve Super 7?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's go. Number one, sunrise or sunset?
This is a good question. I've been thinking about this a long time. To me, it's sunset because I see too many sunrises. And then when you do see a good sunset, and especially over in the West Coast, our sun sets in the ocean. It's such a good thing to see, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's an unusual because most of Australia's population is on the East Coast. It's very weird from an East Coastian, if I can use that term that I just made up. When you see it set over the water for the first time, it's very odd.
It's beautiful.
But it is magic. It is magical and something, very unique and certainly, look, like I hear from people that have visited Perth, or like you guys that are living over there and working over there, you love your sunsets as well. So, mate, a good one to start with, number one. Number two. Now, these are all personal thoughts and feelings, so I want to clear that up. It's not necessarily what is from your golf course or club and the rules thereabouts. This is just your thoughts. So, number two, dogs or no dogs allowed on the golf course?
We are no dogs, but I'd like to have a dog. I've got my housemate's dog as a border collie, awesome. It would have been nice if he was trained a little bit younger to go out there and behave. But I like to take him out whenever we can in the afternoons and have a walk around. And it's so good to have a dog out there.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, so I'd like to train up a good dog and get him out here on normal days. But at the moment, it's just when there's no one around, we go for little walks here and there. So I like dogs.
Very good. Good answer. Number 3, stripes or no stripes on fairways?
No stripes.
That sounds like a question answering a question.
I love stripes. But coming from us, we have limited staff. No stripes is so much easier for us.
Okay.
And right now, fuel prices, it's easier to do it on no stripes than trying to stripe up all the time and spend a lot of money on that way. So no stripes at the moment.
Absolutely good answer, but things that have effects on golf course maintenance that probably we didn't so long ago think would happen so quickly.
Pretty much, yeah.
So quickly. We move on. Number 4, mate. After a golf shot, do you prefer people to replace their divot or put sand down?
I'm a replace divot or knock in. I like to.
Oh, yeah, the knock in. Yep. A bit like repairing a pitch mug. You sort of push it in from the sides and bang it around, and then it'll regrow. A little bit of sand sometimes over the top of it to level it out, but that's all good.
Yeah, so we got Kikuyu fairways, so they do grow back quicker than what a cooch would.
Well, you can stand there and watch it recover.
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much.
Now, number 5, what is your favourite grass variety?
Bent grass.
Is that another question? You sound like you're asking me a question.
Because I've got there's the same questions and I love them. But me, I want to be a bit controversial and say Kikuyu. I love Kikuyu fairways.
Let's go down that road. I know these are quick, short answer questions. Let's go down that road. You want to say Kikuyu?
Yeah.
Okay. I have to ask. I'm compelled to ask more. Why? In return fire.
I love the Kikuyu fairways. Cooch fairways, they're great. To play on is all good, but I've always been Kikuyu fairways.
Yep.
And I love when you can get a good striped Kikuyu fairway, a good firm fairway. They do play good as well. Don't play as long as what a Cooch fairway does, but I do like. I don't know. I've always been a big fan of the Kaya.
Interesting answers. Yeah. We're getting this is diving into the personalities and the people and their thoughts. And look, and I've said this before.
I knew that would be changed.
I've said this before. It doesn't mean that you can't maintain something else. That's just your preference, right? It's a bit like, some people like Indian food and other people like just to have steak. And it doesn't mean you don't like the other one. It's just you have a preference.
Pretty much, yeah. I've spent so much time on a Kikuyu fairway, and I think we can. Yeah, it's definitely better Kikuyu grass down here than trying to look after Cooch because it can get cold and stuff. So it's to me it's just easy to have Kai down here. Yeah,
it works. Very good.
It works,
now number 6, your favourite bunker style: Kingston Heath, Royal Adelaide, or the Australian. And I'm sorry, there's only a 3-choice multiple to pick. And there's not a WA one in there for you. So you just have to suck it up and pick one of those.
The Australian.
The Australian.
The Australian, yeah. I volunteered for the Australian Open in 2017, and I just absolutely love that style of bunker and that style of course.
Wow, that's cool. Very good. Did you have what was that experience like? Maybe I'm this shouldn't be short answer questions anymore. I'll make this part of the podcast now. What did you find from doing the Australian Open? How did you? What did that open your eyes up to?
Oh, just the experience of the whole thing, but just the professionalism of the Australian Golf Club. One of my favourite people I've ever met is Phil Bill. He was just so well organised, and his whole crew just absolutely loved him, and just the professionalism they had for that whole week. It was the most stressful week they could have. It's just everything works fine, perfect, because Phil just had everything down to a T. And to have, I think we had, 50 volunteers or 30 volunteers and 20 staff. I can't remember the numbers,
wow.
but he knew everyone's name. He knew everyone where they're from. It was just such a good experience and learning and seeing what a good golf course can do a tournament. It was just an experience.
Absolutely so. And Phil Beale is a superintendent and no longer at the Australian, but very well regarded in the industry, extremely well regarded in the industry during his tenure at the Aussie and just in general. I mean, wonderful career, and someone who's got great experience and certainly delivered a number of Australian Opens at the Aussie. And they were certainly very, very well done. Opens too.
It was just the way he presented himself. If I could do half of what he does in the way he just runs his golf course, it was just great to see and learn from that. And then with the volunteers, most of them were TYCs or superintendents. Who volunteered, so got a lot of knowledge from a lot of people, and it was just such a great experience. Just, the networking side of it was awesome
for sure. And I think they're advertising at the moment for the Australian Open this year down at Victoria and Kingston Heath. So, mate, are you going to throw your hat in the ring, or anyone listening? Why not? You've heard already what the experience is like.
Recommend to do it. I'd like to. The dates probably don't work.
Yeah, fair enough. You can't go to all of them.
Well, I'd like to do more, but the dates probably don't work, so I think I'm doing a bit of work through that time.
Fair enough. We'll get to that. We'll talk about that soon. Now, mate, it's been a very, very long set. We've lasted probably 5 minutes per question on it so far, but I'm at the final one here, so we've made our way to number 7. If you could visit one golf course anywhere on the planet tomorrow, which one would it be for you, mate?
I can't answer that one.
If we get to the climax and you tell me you can't answer it.
I've always wanted to say Augusta National, but
you're not going to say Augusta National, right?
I'm not going to say it now because after watching the Open last week.
Oh yeah.
St Andrews. Oh,
very good. See, and you know what? And I was talking to this. Who was I talking to this? I can't remember. I was talking to someone about it. About how St Andrews is kind of underrepresented. When I asked that question in the podcast to all the superintendents, that it often falls to Augusta. And for me, it's St Andrews. It always has been. For my number one, but I find very, very few people mention St Andrews as the course as their number one to pick around the world, and that's okay. But after watching it the other day on television, my God, it just boosted the reasons why I want to go there.
Oh yeah, it was just amazing to watch, and the golf course itself on TV probably doesn't show what it could be, but
of course.
just the way you had to play that golf course, it was
incredible.
just amazing. Oh,
different golf.
I love. Yeah, different golf.
And it's great to watch. The imagination required by players, and that's afforded to them at a place like St Andrews. And I've got no doubt, I should say, because I haven't been there, but I get an understanding that landscape in a lot of the British Isles where those golf courses are, and there's a stack of them around that region as well where St Andrews is, that they're all quite similar. I won't say they're the same, but that concept of using your imagination, the ground game is ever present, more so than on most of our golf experiences here in Australia. It's quite incredible. That's the home of golf. There's a reason why it is the home of golf, and the sport, derived from that to everything else we have today. It's, you go back to it, and it's incredible in every way, shape and form. One day I'll get
just
there.
That natural setting. The other one I was going to go close to was Barnbugle.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's one I'd like to go to, hopefully soon. But I'd like, just the natural setting, middle of nowhere. And all it is just a golf course, well, 3 golf courses, whatever it is.
Mind-blowing, honestly. I was lucky to go there last year, and I want to go back in a hurry. I may not get back in a hurry, but it is absolutely phenomenal. It's one of those very few moments I can speak of for myself where you have an expectation, whether you do it on purpose or not, when you arrive at Barnbugle, it's still so much better. Like your expectation, you think it's high and you're worried that it might not reach the heights of your expectation. And when you get there and you're looking around and you eventually play it and do whatever, it's still so much better. That's just why I don't want to tell anyone else what their thoughts and processes are from their experience. But for me, it blew my expectations out of the water, and I thought I had a high one. So that's how good I found it. So, mate, look, it's a great podcast, Lance. That's a good, what's it been, half an hour? Oh, good. Now, thank you for doing the 7 short answer long versions of the Steve Super 7. Mate, well, I've got to stop laughing. We'll calm down a little bit. Now, let's talk about your story, mate. That's part of Keeper of the Greens. I like to showcase and talk about where greenkeepers come from, how you guys get into the industry, whether you wanted to be part of it, whether you stumbled into it by accident. Lance, take us to the beginning for you and tell us, where you sort of came from to get into greenkeeping, and how did it happen for you day one?
Yeah, it's okay. It could be a long answer or a short answer.
Well, so far, the short ones were long, so let's see how this goes.
Well, pretty much, I've been thinking about a lot of how the journey's been, and in a way, it took me about 5 years to actually get onto a golf course.
Okay.
When I was about 15, year 11, I think it's year 11, the old man used to play every Saturday. And I got to a point I wanted to play with him. So every Saturday morning we play, but I didn't really enjoy the golf side of it.
Okay.
But I just loved being out there. And during that time, we had a bit of work experience in that, and I decided to go on the golf course and see how that is. So went to Hartfield, which was our golf course in our suburb, and every Monday for about a term I did work experience there and enjoyed it. And then the next term went to Hillview and enjoyed it. So this is what I want to do. Can
I ask, mate, where they are? Are we still in Perth or Busselton, or where are we?
Yeah, so I grew up in Perth.
Okay.
In Forestfield, which is near the Perth Airport, in the foothills. Okay. Hartfield Country Club is in Forestfield.
Right.
And then Hillview's in Maidavale, which is not too far from where I am. So close golf courses. So I did work experience there, and I was like, this is what I want to do. Try to find if I could get a job or anything. Couldn't get anything, and then went to TAFE for Cert 2 in horticulture to try to learn more and try to get myself a job, really.
Yeah, right.
And then got a few interviews here. I was only 16 at the time, and didn't have a license, and it was really difficult to get a job because of not having a license at the time and that. And in a way, got a job somewhere else, just in a warehouse, and sort of gave up on the idea, and was in a warehouse being a forklift driver from 17 to 20 years old.
So far from the landscape of working outside.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. So I unfortunately gave up on the idea and enjoyed myself in this warehouse and had a great time. Teenager.
As long as you weren't one of those guys we see the replays of over and over again on social media where they drive a forklift into a pile of boxes and the whole scaffolding comes down.
No. It was they're very dangerous machines.
Yes.
And that was the scary thing is when you do get on two wheels, it was
Let's keep those stories off the public record, shall we?
But I was there for 3 years, and just it went so quick actually when you come think of it. And then got to about 20 years old, and it's like I don't have a qualification or anything, and I know like it was later down the track I think it was gonna hurt if I wanted to keep going with something. So I decided to leave. And in the back of my mind I was always I like to get on a golf course. So that's always still been one of those passions. So this is 2004. I put my resume out. I wrote a resume and mailed my resume to golf courses in Perth.
Right.
There was just looked at the UBD, your roadmap.
Geez, most people wouldn't even know what they are. The UBD or the Greg. If you walked up to someone and said, "Listen, can you just get a copy of Gregory's out?"
Yeah.
UBD. People look at you sideways. What novel's that?
Yeah, so I just put my resume out. Like I found 20 courses and just put my resume out. Didn't think anything of it. And then about a month later, I get a phone call from the golf course in my suburb, Hartfield. Said, well, "I got your resume. Would you be keen on going? Going for an interview and see if you like it or not?" And it was just such a weird feeling. It's like, okay, let's give this a go, and pretty much haven't looked back since. And that was
Wow.
about like a 5 year gap from me wanting to be on a golf course to getting a job on a golf course.
There you go, mate. That's great. So you get in at Hartfield and do an apprenticeship. Is that where you started? Is that how it worked for you, getting in?
No, it was just as a greenkeeper.
Okay.
Um, at the time, I was moved out of home and couldn't really afford to do an apprenticeship. And
Yep.
the super decided he didn't want to do an apprenticeship at the time, apprentice at the time, and I can't remember why. I'm not too sure why, but it was just as a greenkeeper. And then after 6 months, I enrolled to do night school.
Right.
So we had so every Monday for 18 months night school instead of doing an apprenticeship.
Okay, so that's how you got your qualification that way, sort of doing it
Yeah.
outside work. So you were earning effectively a wage that you could live off, but you weren't locked into an apprenticeship, which meant that
Yeah.
I suppose things could change. You could essentially, I suppose lose your job in effect if the club could no longer afford you. There was no reason to lock you in, and there's a little bit of other things that come involved in that. You're sort of doing a little bit more off your own bat, I suppose.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah. I had to, do it myself.
But that
And
shows
I
a
think
level of commitment, right? That shows you that you were keen.
pretty much, yeah. And I think I actually paid for myself. I can't remember back that time, but I think I actually had to pay for my
Would
own
it?
education.
No doubt would have been. That's part of the
Mm,
apprenticeship. That's a part of the sweetener for the apprenticeship, is
mm,
is that it's all covered for you. But when you do it the other way, you end up doing it. So you paid your own way. You did it at nights, all that sort of stuff, because you clearly wanted to be a greenkeeper, which is great.
yeah, yeah.
So how long did you work at Hartfield for?
11 years.
Whoa, that's
Yeah,
not what I was expecting you to tell me.
yeah.
So that's really good. So how did you move through the ranks there as from a greenkeeper starting out? Did you get up to potentially assistant or anything like that?
Yeah, so pretty much, where do I begin with that? Yeah, just loved my job, and we had such a good crew. It wasn't really at the early time I wasn't trying to progress or anything. I just enjoyed it. So I wasn't trying to get to become a 2RC and do all this. It was
Yep.
just enjoying the job and having a great team to work with.
Yeah, cool.
After 5 years, I became irrigation tech
Okay.
and through RC.
Yep.
And yeah, again had a good superintendent, good assistant, and we just enjoyed working together and all that. So again, I just didn't really look to progress.
And the team worked well, right? By the sounds of it.
Yeah, we had a great team, and then 9 years in, my super resigned, and I was like, you know what, I could now do this as a career.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it got to a point. I was like, you know what, I actually do want to benefit myself, and I want to progress now.
Yep.
Which is really weird after 9 years.
Well, hang on. You didn't exactly start out young either. Just quietly, it took you 5 years
Yeah,
to work it out. How much you
pretty
really
much,
wanted
yeah.
to. And it's interesting because you kind of knew that you liked it and you wanted to do it, but you didn't have or didn't find the opportunity to do so until you just like, you know what, I'm done over here. It's still there. I still want to go there. So then you found a way. And then you got into green, and then it sounds like you enjoyed it. So you were just kept on enjoying it, and then realized,
Well,
you know
that's
what, I
it.
want more.
Yeah, so it was just a great job.
Doing it
and
your way.
doing it my way, yeah. And it wasn't like I always want to better yourself and make it a career, but it was always such a great place to work, and yeah, that's when I enjoyed myself. It didn't get to a point that I wanted to progress, and that's when it got really difficult.
Okay, explain that.
Yeah, so when my super left, that's when I decided to put my name in. I was only 3RC, put my name in the hat, And then it got to a point. I didn't get the job. We had a really good applicant who got it and is still there and doing a great job there. But what it did is lit the fire in a way of this is what I want to do now. I actually want to be a super.
Yep.
And so it's like, okay, what can I do to get myself there? And that's the first time after 9 years was I think I need to leave. I think
Wow.
I need to go to do something. I've got to try to get an assistant job somewhere and try to benefit myself somewhere else because at the time movement wasn't.
There was nowhere to go above you. Really?
Nowhere to go above, yeah.
And so what was that epiphany like? Was that something, did you find that, I won't say scary, but was it daunting in effect to think that whilst you had a good job and you were happy there and you enjoyed your time greatly, did you find it daunting the thought that you had to go somewhere else to make that next step to learn more, get more experience? You didn't know where that would be. Was it daunting, or was the challenge like, you know what, I'm hungry for this shit. I don't care where I go, I'm going there.
Pretty much the latter. It wasn't daunting. It was It was like I was ready by then to go. I've got to do something to progress.
Yep.
And so it was never really a concern of me leaving, and absolutely love that place, and it's still great. And every time I go there, I just absolutely love it. It was my second home for 11 years.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, so that's when I got to start looking, and then went for a few assistant jobs, and in 2 years I went for 10 assistant jobs, and no luck with anything, and wasn't even getting interviews.
Yeah, really? Okay.
Yeah, it was there were a couple of interviews here and there, but for the 10 I think I had 2 interviews.
Yeah.
And no luck where else, sort of thing. So it got to a point as like, what am I doing something wrong?
You start questioning, yeah.
You start questioning yourself, and then that's what happened, and so 2 years of okay, well, what do I do? Do I just stay here? And then you almost second guess yourself. So is this the industry I want to be in? What else could I do? And then luckily enough, I got a job as an assistant down at Margaret River.
Okay, so you finally had the opening.
I finally got the opening there after 11 years at Hartfield. I made the jump and moved out of my suburb and moved down to Margaret River, and that was a big step personal for me. I've always lived in Forestwood all my life, and
yep.
I think I was 31, and there's a lot of people I've joked in the past that I would never leave Forestwood and all that.
Well, you're a bit entrenched there, obviously. I know, I kind of know that feeling. I was the same in the Blue Mountains. Everyone was like, you're here. And I never saw myself going anywhere else. It sounds like you were a little bit the same until that time come where you go, you know what, I have to go. This is what I need to do. And then the opportunity comes up and you go, that's it, I'm out.
Yeah. Well, pretty much personal life, it was soccer club, cricket club, all in Forestfield. The only time I did leave Forestwood was for away games.
Yeah, right.
So it moved down to Margaret River was great. That's another half hour away from Busselton.
I was going to say that's further south from where you are there at Busselton,
further
isn't it?
South, yeah. Yeah, so we're 2.5 hours, but Margaret River is about 3 hours.
Yeah, right.
And that the course, a little bit smaller than us, had 3.5 staff, so super, assistant, an apprentice, and a part timer.
Okay. And
it was a great eye opener having Hartfield. We had 10 staff to having a smaller staff of 3.5.
Yep.
And learned a lot from the super at the time. And became great mates with him and talked to him all the time. We're still pretty close. Yeah, I was there for 12 months.
Can I ask you a question? During the time you were there for 12, and the move, like you mentioned, from a larger team to a smaller regional golf course, and I don't think I'm being unfair on saying that. Do you find that you have to be and I don't know what you were doing as the greenkeeper at Hartfield and the level of work, but do you find at a smaller course, everyone has to be able to do everything? Do you find that you've really got to be you find yourself experiencing all sorts of things? You have to work out and find a way to problem solve, because you can't. Sometimes the specialists aren't there at your fingertips. Sometimes it is. You look around and you go, "Shit, it's me. I've got to solve this problem. I've got to work it out." Did you find that within the whole team, that everyone was sort of pretty good, and it sort of stemmed from the top down, that everyone helped each other out? We've got to solve all sorts of different problems that you might not have experienced so much. That's a question.
Pretty much. Yeah, it is. And I love that small team environment in that way. That's it. Get your hands dirty. Figure it out yourself. If not, give someone a call. And Busselton's the same. We had to do everything ourselves. No mechanic. No.
Yep.
No irrigation technician. You just did it yourself, and that's what I love about the smaller courses compared to a bigger course, because you have bigger courses. Everyone's got their individual jobs. At Hartfield, I was just irrigation, not just irrigation tech, but I was irrigation tech, and that was my baby.
That was what you were basically doing majority, not all 100%, but the majority. That was your role.
The majority, yeah, that's it. And so the spraying and the mechanical side of it, never really did much of that at Hartfield. So to go to a smaller course and you got to do everything.
Yep.
It's such a good, a great way to learn more either way.
Yeah, cool. So 12 months at Margaret River.
So there for 12. Enjoyed the job. Enjoyed the golf course. But I struggled to live in Margaret River. It's a really hard place to become a local in a way.
It's a holiday destination. Is it? I don't know what it's like. Is it a small country region, being a wine region?
Yeah.
And it's it's a surf haven, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah. So if you didn't surf or it was just a really difficult place to find friends, really.
Yep.
It was just, I don't know, it was just a hard place to.
And that's the stuff outside work, right? So the work side of it was easy. You've moved away from everything that you know, and you're 3 hours from everyone you know, I suppose. I find you throw yourself headlong into work, but outside that, you're sort of on your own.
Yeah. So I struggled of the fearing of missing out at home. Yep. I was still part of the soccer club and had a really good involvement there. I coached before I left to Margaret River and stuff. So for that year, when always still try to find out how they went and stuff like that. I felt like I missed out a lot of stuff that way, and I shouldn't have looked at that. But I did.
But that attachment's there because you spent so much of your time outside work doing all these other things and a good network of friends and hobbies and things that you do. You've basically Band-Aid removed that off. I mean, that's a hard thing to go stone cold turkey on because that's the fun and socialising outside work, right? It keeps you sane.
Yeah. So it was difficult at the time. Coming now to in Busselton, which we've talked about later, is so much different to what it was down in Margaret River at the time. Through my social and my life at the time.
Sure. So after Busselton, what happened when you did your 12 months? What was the catalyst for the move? You said it was difficult for you. Where did you go?
So I got offered a job at Mount Lawley Golf Club.
Oh, that's got a good rep.
Yeah. So just as a greenkeeper there.
And that's back in Perth, is it?
Back up in Perth, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So my former superintendent, who was at Hartfield, went to Mount Lawley, and he's called me up one day and asked me if I wanted to move home and go to Mount Lawley, and so I took up on the chance to move home.
Very good. So what was the role there at Mount Lawley?
I was just a greenkeeper at the time.
Okay.
And then six months in, I became course foreman.
Okay.
Which was pretty much a joint through IC and took over the irrigation side of that. And then the other course foreman was the spray technician.
Yep.
So jumped back into an irrigation role, and we did an irrigation upgrade at the time. And,
cool.
Full irrigation install, and that was a great experience. But the main thing of going back up to Perth was my goal was to become a superintendent.
Yep.
That was always still the goal. So getting that experience down in Margaret River, went for a few jobs there as well to try to benefit myself as well. And then when I moved back home, I wanted to start my Cert 4.
Yeah, okay. The next level. This is the next level of education, really, in turf qualifications.
Yeah, yeah. So the goal was move back home and complete my Certificate 4 in sports turf management.
Was that, again, is this a night thing? I don't know. I haven't done my Cert 4. I didn't do it.
Yeah, this was another night school. Yeah, this was every Monday.
Are you nocturnal by chance?
It's only a couple of hours. It was like 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock sort of thing.
Yeah, right.
And then everything else was all homework in a way.
I think that's how the Cert 4 is done across the board, from what I gather.
Yeah, I think so now. Yeah. I don't think Cert 4 is involved anymore. I think it's more diploma.
Oh yeah, there's changed
stuff like
names
that,
and
different
states call them anyway. Yep, gotcha.
Yes, so every Monday, TAFE lecturer, he's an absolute legend, John Forrest. He was just he's amazing. He was a TAFE lecturer for 20 plus years, and he would have taught everyone really in the WA industry.
Yeah, right. There's always one. There's always one of those guys.
Yeah. Well, we've got a good couple, but John Forrest, he was my course director at Hartfield as well.
Okay.
So we had a good connection with
him. Yeah, right. Cool. So you do Cert 4.
Yep.
If that's what we're calling it, Cert 4 diploma. And you're working at Mount Lawley. How did you find Mount Lawley? Because like I said before, it's got a pretty good rap. It's got a good name. What was the landscape like there relative, say, to Hartfield? Was it a different type of landscape, or was it similar?
It was, yeah. So the best thing looking at it now is the 3 courses I was at, which 3 totally different courses. And this is where I needed to get the experience of learning that. Like Hartfield, 11 years at Hartfield, I believe I knew everything that course could do. But was it always right? Was it wrong? I didn't know. So Hartfield was like a blue collar type course. It was like a second tier course of WA, of Perth, and Mount Lawley was in that top tier. There's about 5 or 6 courses in that top bracket, and Mount Lawley was one of them. And totally different experience to even Hartfield. Hartfield we had 9 to 10 staff. Mount Lawley was 10 to 11 staff, but just totally different way of operating. And so it was good experience of that change going from those 3 courses.
For sure. So you're spending time there at Mount Lawley. How long were you at Mount Lawley before you moved from there? Are we working our way to Busselton?
So just under 3 years.
Okay.
I think it was March 2016 to November 2018.
So good experience had at Mount Lawley.
Yeah, so during that time still, I was still looking to progress. I was still wanted an assistant job and then keep going. It was, at the time, so difficult doing the assistant superintendent role in Perth.
Yeah, sure.
And so always put my name in the hat and try to benefit myself. And I was always a true believer, of not just going for a job just for the sake of it. I believed I was the best person for the job. I was never going to go for a top tier course as a superintendent, and just because I wanted to make sure I was the best. I believe I was the best person for that role. The Busselton job, there's a bit of the story there, but I actually got offered the Busselton job from the old superintendent. He told the committee to get me. So I didn't actually go for this job.
So were you at Mount Lawley when that happened?
I was at Mount Lawley, I was at Mount Lawley.
And then you get a phone call?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Wow. Now that's it. Did that raise your eyebrows?
Pretty much. And then that's where the story, so it's such a crazy story, because I went for so many jobs and there was so many heartbreak that when this came up, it was just like an unbelievable, why is this happening to me? Because it just didn't feel deserving of it in a way, and it was just a crazy experience.
Well, mate, look, it's one of those things, I suppose. And if you're out there doing your thing, the one thing I always say, people are always watching. whether you know it or not. So there are people that will find out who you are, because there's always people talking, there's always people watching. So as long as I find you're out there, doing your best, and you're proving to everyone, what you can do and who you are. There's always something that'll come knocking on your door, and for you, like, you'd been doing it, and you were being noticed. You had been noticed to the point where someone got in touch with you to headhunt you. Now, that doesn't happen every day, and it doesn't. No. It certainly doesn't happen by bloody accident. It's not like they accidentally called your number, and this is the thing, right? So it was a deliberate move. So, mate, that would have been a pretty special feeling.
Pretty much what it was. When I was down in Margaret River, I met the superintendent of Busselton a couple of times, and he knew of me, and still got in contact with the superintendent down in Margaret River, and he from what I gather, he noticed me in a way, and then when there was an opportunity for him, he had to leave, and he always had me earmarked to come down here, and it's just a weird experience. And
mate, like I said, that's a pretty special thing, and how I'm curious how you were thinking about that, knowing that you'd moved back to Perth from Margaret River. Where were you at now? You spent 5 years, I think you said, at Mount Lawley. Where was your thought process now about the idea to go back? Albeit a super's role, it still meant getting out of the city.
Yeah, there was no, I was going to do it.
That was it. It finally come. This is what you wanted, was here. I'm grabbing it with both hands.
Pretty much, no. Yeah, that's it. I didn't, there was no, should I do it? It was just, we're doing it.
Awesome.
And the story of it was a year earlier, and there was so much heartbreak and rejection. But there was one time about a year earlier, I went for the Dunsborough superintendent role, which is close to Busselton as well. It's only about 20 minutes away from here.
Yep.
And had a good phone interview with him, and it was looking pretty good. And that's when I was like, I'm happy to go wherever to be a superintendent.
Yep.
And the day before the interview, I get a phone call saying, "Don't bother coming down. We've already made our choice. Thank you, but no thanks," in a way of coming.
Oh, you didn't even get a start.
Didn't even get an interview. And that one hurt. That one hurt a lot.
Yeah, right.
Because I was prepared, I was ready. Had the day off to go down there and have the interview, and was really, really prepared to try to prove myself. And to not even get an interview and it's like, you haven't met me, in a way.
Yep.
That was the hardest, really hard.
Yeah, sure.
And that day I spoke to a few of my old bosses, and there was a bit of a frustration period, and had to actually, my old boss from Hartfield and a couple of guys from Hartfield come to my house with a carton of beer and drown the sorrows in a way.
No better way to drown those sorrows, mate, than with a carton of beer. Very Aussie.
Pretty much, yeah.
But that's like it obviously hit hard. Like you said, you were prepared to, it obviously meant a lot to you. You'd been trying so hard to get it. You finally got a chance, and having that interview ready for you to be at, to really push your case. And it was somewhere that you obviously wanted to make that move to. You were happy to go. And it was sort of like, I suppose the rug was ripped out from underneath. You didn't even get a chance. It was all taken away.
That's it, yeah.
And you'd finally got given a chance to have an interview after the amount of times trying. So
what happened that day with the carton of beer was I got a message from the superintendent of Busselton. His assistant just resigned, and he was seeing if I wanted to do the move down south and be his assistant.
Okay.
Of the same day of the rejection of not getting the interview for Dunsborough.
Right.
And I was unsure at the time because moving back down south as an assistant and doing that way, I was keen on doing the super role, but was it going to be beneficial for me to come back down south just as an assistant?
Yeah.
Luckily enough, I didn't have to make that choice. I actually sent my resume and cover letter to him anyway, just to get it going.
Sure.
But couple of days later, he's called me up, going, "Oh no, the assistant's going to stay now," and it was lucky that I didn't have to make that choice to stay or go in a way. So it was good in that way that I didn't get the job. But what it did is I gave my resume to him.
Yep.
So 12 months later, when all this was happening, he had my resume already ready to give to the board.
There you go. And he had you in mind.
Yeah.
And like I said, there's someone always watching your work. You know, there's a few years in that, but people had known who you were, the work you'd done. Like I said, it wasn't. It didn't happen by accident that you got a phone call. So that's a pretty good feeling. So you're off to Busselton, mate. Out of the big smoke and back to the bush. Oh, so I shouldn't say the bush. Back to a regional part down there, a beautiful part of the world of Busselton, and take the reins for the very first time. How was that day walking into the shed, officially being employed as superintendent of Busselton for something that you'd been dreaming and working hard to get? You finally got it. What was that day like?
It was easy.
Oh, come on. I was working up to a bit more of a story than that.
No, because I prepared myself for so long. It was a 5-year type journey.
Sure.
By the time it happened, it felt so easy that I was ready. So cool. Everything I did from the Cert 4 was a big one for me. I believe like Cert 3, you learnt your hands-on stuff out on the golf course. Cert 4 was everything office works in a way.
Yep.
So everything preparing yourself for it. So when I first started, it just felt natural.
You walk straight in.
So, and we had a really good crew. The assistant was just amazing, a really good bloke, and we got along straight away. And the golf course is in great condition. So everything when it happened, it just felt easy. It just felt natural to walk in and continue what the superintendent and assistant did before me. It was There
you go. Very good. So this is the start. So what year did you walk into Busselton?
That was November 2018.
Okay. So you've been there now for 4 years, more or less.
Yeah, just under 4. Yeah, it's 4 winters, and that to me is 4 years.
Now, you've been steering the place for 4 years. You've done a lot of work at Busselton, a lot of improvements under your leadership there, and the time that you've been there since the day that you walked in, and it culminated just recently at the Australian Sports Turf Managers Association Awards Night, the gala dinner in Melbourne, where the annual conference was held, where you had been nominated for and ultimately won the award for excellence in golf course management. Now, mate, I got to tell you, that doesn't happen by accident either. Now, there's a couple of things here that are starting to really show off, your skills as a greenkeeper, and you're obviously there's leadership involved there. You love what you do. There's passion behind it. We've heard that part to now. Then you go and win this award after being there and working hard with the crew and doing a lot of work for the club for 4 years. Mate, that's a big deal from being headhunted to then lifting the game again at Busselton. What the hell have you done at Busselton, and how good is the place?
It's crazy just the way you said that.
Mate, I'm blowing smoke up your ass because that's a bit of a deal. And from what I gather, and I was chatting to you, and I'd seen that you won the award. I actually reported it on Walking the Fairways, and we have touched base previous to you winning the award. And I wanted to get in touch with you to get you on as well, not knowing that you were going to win the award for excellence in golf course management. Mate, that is a really big accolade. That's across the country.
It's crazy.
That you're in Busselton, and I'm not trying to say that it's a tiny country town, just a golf course that no one really knows, but that's over there. It's a holiday region, It's a golf course that people know about. We might not have heard about it so much on the East Coast, but you've won the award, and I'll say it again. You've won the award for excellence in golf course management out of all of those that work on golf courses in Australia that were nominated.
It's crazy. We decided to go. Myself and General Manager decided to just nominate for the state award. I was happy just winning the state award.
Big deal.
Just because of the heart. Yeah, it's a great. Yeah, it's a prestigious award for just the state.
That's right. The state award is a big deal. I mean, then you get on the national stage. So yeah, keep talking about it. Tell us what you went through.
So with just the state award, I just wanted to acknowledge the hard work we've done out here, and didn't think much of it. Just to be nominated is great for me.
That's
to
huge.
Win that, So to win the state award, and then you're nominated for the Australian award, and put my nomination in, and didn't think anything of it. It was, to me, everything we've done is just normal.
Because you have been doing a lot of work. There's lots of bits of the golf course, greens, tees, bunkers, rebuilding there. You've done some environmental changes in management, the way that you look after the golf course. You're trying to reduce your chemical inputs in maintenance, and you've got a new maintenance facility has been upgraded. So in there's safety on that and environmental stewardship as well. Mate, it's been a busy 4 years.
in that way, yeah, it has. Pretty much, I don't think when I first started, it wasn't to change the golf course. To me, the golf course was in great condition, but they always wanted a master plan. What is your next step?
Yep.
So for the first 2 years was try to implement something that could work without going crazy with budgets and all that. It was like, well, what do we pinpoint what needs to happen? The shed was the main one. Our shed was 4 sheds in one, and it was a bit of a nightmare. We always joked it was you had to play Tetris every day to get the machines out.
Know that feeling well, and it's not fun. It's terrible. Inefficient and really, and it can be quite in terms of safety. It's pretty ordinary.
Yeah, we had to climb over machines to get out, set the alarm, and climb over the machines in the dark to close the door, and it wasn't fun. But the efficiency side of it, with my guys, took us about 15 minutes to get ready. So to get all the machines out, to get our machines out there on the golf course, it was 15 minutes. So you work out 6 people. It was an hour and a half worth of wasted time in the morning.
100%.
And then in the afternoon. 100%. So we're wasting 3 hours of work because of a shed.
It's just shit, right? There's nothing good about it. It is so much dead time, and lots of people, lots of members of clubs, committee members, board members don't realise it's something that they would sit there and go, we just pile all the gear in the shed and lock it up, right? It's not that difficult. And you're like, yeah, but each of us we're all spending 15 minutes getting going. We've lost that much time in a day. Now extrapolate that out over a month and then do it across a year, and I'll give you the number of how much dead, wasted, useless time is spent getting out of this shit shed. I mean, there is a lot to that, right?
That's where that's where the argument was the time efficiency. To have 6 guys, you want to try to get as much time out of the golf course. And the health and safety side of it, it was dark and dingy in areas, and you just couldn't see what you're doing and all that. So it was always on the plan to do. Yep. But then when we got involved, trying to explain what type of shed you want as well. You with a greenkeeping shed compared to a farming shed, you want to have room, access, get on a machine and go. When a farming shed, you have 4 doors and you just get everything in the shed. And so we didn't want to go that way again.
Yep.
So trying to explain to a non-greenkeeper, this is the target. That was a hard one to win as well. And luckily enough, it all went through, and it's the best thing that's ever happened to us in a way. Everything now is so efficient.
I say to people, and a lot of people obviously have never seen inside a greenkeeping maintenance facility or walked inside of it or don't even know about them, but most people can relate to an office desk. And I say to them that if you've got an office desk and your computer and your diary, your pens, your papers, your little organising shelf, if they're all covered in shit, and every morning you turn up to your desk, you've got to go and move everything, put it aside, and you go and put it on the floor next to your chair, and then you get to work, and then when you're finished, you've got to pick it all up off the floor and you just plonk it all back over the top of everything else. If you do that every day, you've wasted a lot of time, and it's very inefficient. You've got to go and look for things. Nothing has a home. People can relate to the desk theory. And with a maintenance facility, it's the same concept, except it's just a giant room. So you really need to have everything organised to be efficient at your job.
Well, that's it. Everything has its own bay.
Yeah, everything has a home.
That's what you want. Yeah. The old shed, it was just try to get it in there and hopefully that door closes. And now having the shed, we've had it for about 12 months. It's just a dream. And talking to the guys that have been here 8, 9, 10 years, and now it's like, well, why hasn't this happened before? It's so much easier to work and I feel like it's been a better environment for the staff as well, that the club has put money into us to do the job we can do in a way, and I feel for myself it felt like an honour for the golf course to put some money in, because sheds aren't cheap, and to put the money into a maintenance shed compared to putting money into the clubhouse or this or that. It was great for the club to tick that box in a way.
Well, I'm glad you pointed that out, mate, because that was one of the things I was just about to ask you or mention, is that it's not $5,000. It's not $10,000. I mean, it's a big investment from the golf club to put into something that they probably can't really quantify, even though you could sit there and tell them the time wasted and all this sort of stuff. For the board members and the people making the decisions in the club, they go, well, we're not getting a new green out of this. We're not changing the carpet in the clubhouse out of this. They're getting a new shed, so essentially they're getting a new storage facility. But it's more than that. And now that you can see how you're operating as a team, there's a lot more safety involved. Things are a lot safer in general, and that comes down to environmental safety as well, with storage of things and bits and pieces and the like in the shed. I mean, it's a big investment and a big commitment, but like you mentioned, it's a very important one from the club that they did and it's for the long term of the golf club as well, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's it. My argument was the shed we had was 40 years old. This shed I want for 40 years. So I wanted it to be big enough that in 40 years' time, it's like, oh, we don't need to build another add-on. Everything should still fit in that shed. Yep. Hopefully, we'll wait and see. But it's not a year investment. It's a long-term investment for the benefit of the golf course.
100%.
And the best thing we've had down here, I haven't said much about the golf club in itself, is when I first started, it was always golf course first. So if we needed something for the golf course, it'd always be golf course first, and then everything else afterwards, sort of thing. So
wow.
So I'm lucky in that way.
That's good.
Instead of a golf club building a new pro shop or a new clubhouse, a lot is more involved with the golf course. They want the golf course.
You don't hear the story, we've got to go and paint the clubhouse. Because that's next on the list, and not worry about the greens mowers falling apart, but just by I think you know what I'm saying. What I'm saying. But that's something that that happens. It sounds like Busselton in their leadership and the board and the direction of those on the board and that make up the committees. It sounds like they're very switched on to what they want to try and make sure they can deliver on the golf course. And as I say, at the end of the day, a golf club is there for people to play golf, not there for people to have a chicken parmigiana in the clubhouse. It's nice to do that, and this is me speaking, but at the end of the day, the core business is golf.
Yeah.
So they understand the value of that, and you've got an upgraded maintenance facility, which is so good to hear, mate. It's a big deal. So you've been doing other things out on the golf course as well, though.
Yeah, so with a master plan, that was another 2 year type idea. Give me 2 years to figure out what we needed to do, and then we looked into green constructions. We pinpointed 5 greens that were getting too small and a bit of cooch encroachment into them and stuff like that. So we had a plan of these 5 greens to do in the next 5 years in a way.
Yep.
And so we looked at trying to have a program of doing one green a year in construction. So a full not change the architecture of the golf course.
Yep.
I love the golf course itself. But it was just to resurface. So
okay.
remove all the gunk and add fresh sand and the first green we seeded and the second green we turfed and just to have a plan. So in a way we should do every green in 18 years.
Yeah.
But at the moment, we've just been doing a 1 green a year just to keep to a point that in 2 or 3 years' time, we need to do 6 greens at once.
Yep.
We've got a plan in that way. So they like that idea. There's a few other little things we did with bunker maintenance, fixing some of the bunkers and all that. But the main one was rebuilding these greens. So we've done 2 in the last 2 years.
Mate, that's awesome. That's awesome. Very, very good. And again, I go back to, mate, that award for excellence in golf course management doesn't happen by accident. You've got a good team around you as well, which makes life a lot easier to be able to carry out the planning that you've got. And you work with the team in terms of understanding what you can and can't do as well, no doubt. That's all involved, mate. And congratulations on winning that award. It's certainly a big deal. And winning the state one as well, mate. Hats off to you, because that's a very good accolade to have to your name. And by the sounds of it, I do know, speaking to you, it was one that you certainly weren't expecting. So congratulations.
I'm still just in disbelief, and it was a shock when it happened, because I don't think I've done anything different to anyone else. And I've just done my job. So when the award got announced in Melbourne, I think I sent you the video. I just couldn't believe it.
You were quite literally speechless.
Yeah. and so it's great to get acknowledged, but I don't think I'm doing anything different to anyone I know who's a superintendent. But hats off to my just the golf course in general, the general manager, course director, and my staff. It's great to get acknowledged. Just Busselton Golf Club.
Exactly, mate, and so good to hear. And then I say this to people when I talk to them on social media. I talk to friends that I know, just general conversations, and through the podcast as well. For the golfers listening, and even for greenkeepers, if you want to know more. If you're going to Perth and you're going to WA, or if you are over there and you've not been to Busselton, why not take the effort to go and play golf and have a game and go and visit Busselton and see what it's all about? Because, like I said, the golf excellence in golf course management doesn't happen by accident. So clearly there's been a lot of improvements there, and it sounds like it's a wonderful golf course to go and experience. So I'm just shouting it out there and saying it to anyone listening. If you want to go and try something else, or you haven't been to Busselton, go for it. Go and make the effort to go and play golf. And if you want to travel out over to the West Coast from the East Coast, put Busselton on your list as well. I think it's a good thing to go and visit and experience. So, mate, very well done, Lance, and something you should be very, very proud of is winning that award.
Trying to get tourists here in a way. Just the Southwest in general.
Well, mate,
as I said, it's such a great place. The wineries are amazing down here. Even the breweries we have down here now. There's so many different places to go to. It's not just a golf destination. It's just everything down here.
It's a beautiful part of the world, and all these other, they're all, I suppose, complementary things that we talk around golf. And I find sometimes we don't talk about majority of Australians' populations population is on the East Coast. There's no denying that, right? So, and we don't often talk about WA as much of a golf destination as maybe we could. I know that there's some work happening at Raw Perth Golf Club there with CDP and Cruise Golf. They're looking to do some design work, but that's a private golf course, got a great name. But there's other golf courses around in the region of WA, and certainly down in your area outside Perth, mate. What are the sorts of places we want to visit? Why are you not in the conversation of a golf destination? I don't know.
Yeah, it's little old Perth and little old WA in a way.
It didn't help when McGowan put up the wall.
Oh, I love that wall. That wall helped me.
That's a joke from the East Coast.
But golf courses in WA and in Perth, I believe they're a different type of golf course than what are over east.
Sure, but that's a more reason to go and visit, right?
That's it. Yeah. Yes, great courses, and not just great courses. Great superintendents. I believe we've got so many good young guys coming up, and the older guys as well. It's a good industry to be in in WA at the moment, and it's great to have so many good superintendents around at the moment.
Are you guys over there? And I say over there because from the East Coast, it really does often feel like you're removed over there in WA from so much of us, because it's further to go to you than it is to go to New Zealand, by the way, which is quite hard to believe. But do you have a good camaraderie in the industry of greenkeeping over there? Because it really is quite, you're in an isolated pocket. I don't know how many of you get to travel around to South Australia, to Adelaide, to Melbourne and the like, to visit other places. You're all sort of, is it a pretty good group in the State Industry Association and the like?
Yeah, it is good. The last couple of years have been a downer in a way, because it was so hard to see people and
sure,
and with lockdowns and stuff like that. So I think this year's changed a bit. We're doing more association days, and we just had one a trade challenge at Secret Harbour on last Wednesday.
Yeah, cool.
And got a lot, saw people I haven't seen for a very long time. So there was about a 2-year period of not seeing anyone. But we had a conference in Margaret River in March, April, and I believe this year's a bit more trying to get together a bit more this year than what it has. But there is some great experienced guys and some good young talent, some good young greenkeepers here, and it's great to see these guys that are performing and loving their job the way I do.
Yeah, mate, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And it's great to hear that that WA is getting a little bit of representation, certainly recently, in the industry as well, professionally, which is like I said, really good to hear. And maybe we need to just generally be talking a little bit more about some of the options as golfers to visit and put WA on the map a little bit more. Right? Like I said, I'll be looking into it for myself to see what types of places are worth trying to play and visit over in WA. I don't know a lot about it, and maybe that's part of the thing. Maybe we need to talk. You guys need to start yelling at us a little bit more. Give us options. What's to go and see? What's to go and see? Now, mate, I'm going to move on from there because I want to hear a little bit about some of the detail in Busselton. I've already said how good it is, but let's find out a little bit more about some of the detail, mate. Can you tell us what we might experience when we come to play golf as a golfer from Perth, going for a 2.5-hour drive down south to Busselton, or another visitor locally going to try Busselton for the first time? What are your turf services? What are we going to experience down there? Have you got bent greens, or you got cool season? Is it cooch? What is it?
So we're bent greens, Pencross greens.
Yep.
Even with our upgrade of greens, I've stayed with the Pencross variety.
Yep.
We're pretty much a predominantly Kikuyu course.
Okay.
Was a cooch course back in the day, so there are areas that have got a bit of cooch here and there, but predominantly a Kai fairways, Kai tees, and surrounds.
Okay.
We're not. We're a pretty flat course, so there's no natural hills or anything. It's a very flat, really easy walking course. I don't understand why people use carts out here because they don't need to.
Laziness, mate, and I'll say sometimes I'm one of them. These days, more often than not, but I do love walking it. Walking courses is good.
With our we're members run golf course.
Yep.
And with our membership base, in Busselton is pretty much a retirement village in a way.
Okay.
Everyone who retires moves down to Busselton because it's such a great place to be. So we have a really older membership base. So
Yep.
we have about I think it's about 60% of people over 65 are members at Busselton. So it's a very old club in a way.
Sure.
And so a lot of them drive carts because they just can't walk the 18 anymore. So that's where we get our cart damage from.
Do you are you a public access golf course? I take it.
Yeah. So we're a members run golf course, non-profit organisation, but we allow public sort of thing. So pretty much we're 50-50 in a way.
Yep.
Of public to members. So we have about 700 members, which is a pretty
Wow.
good amount of
That's
members
great.
down here. Yeah, about 50-50 of public out here because it is a tourist destination as well. So there's a lot of tourists come down here. Not just for golf, for the whole area. So we try not to restrict them not playing out here as well.
That's good. That's great. So we can get on. If we're coming from Perth and we're going for a holiday down there for, a bit of a wine break and a golf break, we can get on to Busselton and have a game. And you're going to have it. You're going to experience Kikuyu, which is a little bit softer. It's a little bit slower. It probably makes the course play a little bit longer, does it, than it otherwise
longer,
measures?
Yeah.
We know
it
that
plays longer, and because we're so flat, it doesn't run much as well. So we have a good event in September. And then when you get your guys from Perth thinking the scratch handicappers coming down here, they find it really difficult to play down here. The ball doesn't run, and it's harder to hit. But I love it. I think it's a different challenge.
And I find Kikuyu is also that you get, if anyone's used to that, sort of a bit more of a ground game and a ground effect where you can land it a little bit shorter and let it run and release onto the greens. Kikuyu doesn't so much allow that. So it is a little bit more target golf. It's a little bit more aerial golf when you're getting into flight to the flags and the pins because it won't necessarily release if you're landing short. It'll sort of pull up.
Yeah, that's it. For us as well, if you short side yourself, it's a really hard up and down to land on the green and stop it.
Yeah.
So you got to put yourself in the right position and if you don't, it can be a difficult course.
So, mate, I want to hear about somewhere on the golf course, and this is one of my favourite questions to ask, and I say it every time that it is when I interview someone on Keeper of the Greens. You know the golf courses so well, like the back of your hand, as the saying goes. You're there from sun up. You know it backwards. Where's a really nice picturesque part of the golf course? So when we're golfers on our way around, we should take the time to just sort of take it all in, take in the theme and the feel of what Busselton Golf Club is.
So we don't have those massive hills to show a great landscape or anything, but there's one area I absolutely love, and it's more through winter. Our 12th tee is next to the Vass River.
Okay.
And when that's flowing, it's a good noise. It's a great
yeah, right.
Just feeling out there, just hearing the nature in a way.
Yeah, so nice tranquil feel with the sound of the river.
Yeah. So it's a nice trickle stream, or more than a stream. It's a river, and there's a couple of spots on the course that you can hear the river flowing through winter.
Yeah, nice. I like it. But one thing to put in the memory bank for when we go and visit. For anyone listening, if you're in WA, head down to Busselton. I think you're really going to enjoy it, mate. What have you got? What have you got looking forward? You mentioned you've got your master plan there, sort of looking forward and things you're going to improve. What's sort of next for you guys? Maybe over spring or through the next sort of 12 months that you're looking to improve on the golf course.
So we are targeting the third green this year.
Okay.
So we have an event in September, which is our West Coast Open, and straight after that, we're doing a full rebuild of the green.
Yep.
And extending the tee as well. At tee for par threes, the white and red tee is just too small, and so we're gonna close the whole hole for a period of time. I'm not too sure how long it's going to take.
Yep.
But we're going to rebuild the green and reconstruct one of the tees as well.
Nice, big improvements.
So it's going to be a full on project, but it's one a year, and so this is our big one this year.
That's cool, mate. That's very good. And you've got, I suppose, did you say you've got 6 staff? Is that right?
Yes, yes. There's six of us. At the moment it's five.
Yep.
We're looking for an apprentice pretty soon.
Very good.
But through winter, number of five is good for us. But then getting into summer and the warmer periods, six is our number.
Are you a big golf course? Is it a long golf course? What sort of things might we experience when we come to play there? I don't know a lot about it. Tell us.
Yeah, I think it plays long. I don't know the full measurement of the course, but it does play long. Was it 38 hectares of irrigated turf?
Yeah, right.
14 hectares of fairways, and they're just long fairways. They're not really wide, but it does take time to mow the fairways.
Sure.
Yeah, good property.
Does it get windy? Does it get windy there where you are?
Yeah. So we're very wooded golf course.
Okay, so parkland style.
Very woodland style in a way. So pretty much massive tree lines.
Yep.
Sometimes hitting the ball high isn't a good option. You know, try to get it low in some areas. The summer winds out here can cause a lot of issues. Pretty much through summer, we have someone on a blower all weekend away. If we're not blowing greens or bunkers, we're blowing fairways.
Oh, really?
There's a lot of it can get pretty tedious through summer with the summer winds and the leaves dropping everywhere.
Because am I right in saying over in that region, is it a dry summer and a wettish winter? I say wettish because it's relative to whatever you think wet is. But is that the normal sort of
much
distribution?
The whole Perth, all of Perth and down the south. You can have no rain for 4 months really. So for all summer, you're not going to get any rain at all. If you do, you're lucky.
Yeah, wow.
So from that November to March, you won't see rain.
So you get the sort of wetter times throughout winter, which isn't always ideal, actually, because you haven't got temperature to get it. If you get a lot of rain, the temperature's not going to dry the place out a little bit. But for summertime, you've got recycled water source for your water supply?
Yeah. So we've got wastewater or grey water. We've had it here for I think it's from 2000 to 22 years now, which is great.
Wow.
And it's great to have that water source. It's I like try not to overwater anything anyway, because we have to pay for that water.
Yeah, sure.
But it is such a good thing having a secondary water source, because we still have groundwater license as well, but most of it is the grey water.
That's good water supply, knowing that you've got surety, you've got you can guarantee water use. Like you said, everything costs money for sure, but at the same time, knowing the environment that you have and that you've got a water supply as things might get really tight in the extremes of summer, you can still maintain the golf course and deliver quality services around, can't you?
Yeah, that's the target, is to make sure we have great services everywhere we have, and an irrigation system and a water source is number one priority coming into summer.
Absolutely. Mate, you've given us a well-rounded view of Busselton, Lance. It's been great to talk to you about your story. Mate, I think that's a perfect place to sort of wrap up the conversation, because you've left us wanting to know. I certainly want to know more about Busselton. I'm going to do my bit of research and look into it. I'm going to load up the Google Earth on the phone and just stare like crazy and look at each hole layout, because I love to do that sort of stuff. That's just one of the weird things I enjoy doing, is staring at Google Earth and Google Maps. But
I love it too.
There you go. There you go. Very good. But mate, look, it sounds fantastic. Busselton has really sort of you've been the leader in taking the golf course to the next level, clearly culminating, like I said earlier, in winning the award, the excellence for golf course management on the national level. So it's something that you should be very, very proud of, which I know you are, and rightly so. And, mate, you're bringing up Busselton higher and higher up the levels and getting more recognition for the golf course and the golf club. And like I said before, why wouldn't anyone want to travel down to that region, the Margaret River region and the Busselton region, for golf and for wine, and just for a break away from the city? How good. Thank you so much for being part of it and giving us insight into your career as well, and the journey that you've been on, and showing us and talking to us about Busselton, mate. I really appreciate it.
That's awesome. I reckon we could talk for another couple of hours, really.
We certainly can, but I'm going to have to stop at some point.
But no, it's great. I love what you do, Steve. It's great to have that platform out there for greenkeepers. In a way, I feel like sometimes greenkeeping can be very underprivileged to a golfer.
Mate, I do agree with you. One of the things I love to try and blend is greenkeeping and golf, because as a golfer, and I'm a golfer, I was a golfer before I was a greenkeeper, long before I was a greenkeeper, and I love everything about golf, but I'm so passionate about greenkeeping as well, and I think crossing that information over that barrier that sometimes exists between the two, I think is important. And I've got the platform on the podcast that I love to use to highlight the greenkeeping side of life and what it takes to deliver what we experience. Because as golfers, without people looking after the turf, you can't play golf. And likewise, without golfers playing on the golf courses that we present every day for golfers, if they're not there, we don't have a job. So the two have to coexist, and I think sometimes there's the barrier there. So I want to try and marry up that information and keep that excitement out there and talk about what's good on both sides and keep people excited about it from a greenkeeping point of view and also from a golf point of view, because we play golf to enjoy it. We play golf to get out there on a beautiful landscape and experience what that is. Part of that is the local environment, and part of that is the golf course architecture and design, and part of that is the presentation and ultimately the turf surfaces that we play on. So everyone has a key role, and I love to talk about that and bring it across the barriers, because I think it can only be a positive to try and bring that out for everyone.
Oh, yeah, that's it, and you're doing a great job doing it.
Mate, thank you very much. And Lance, like I said, congratulations on the award. Appreciate your time, mate. You should be very, very proud. Keep your head held very high and fly that flag for the southwest of WA, mate, because there's plenty of things that we can look forward to in playing golf and visiting in that region. So thank you, Lance, and congratulations, mate.
Awesome. Cheers, Steve.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Superintendent Lance Knox of Busselton Golf Club in Western Australia, winner of a 2022 Excellence in Golf Course Management Award from the Australian Sports Turf Managers Association. Fantastic interview. I could certainly, Lance and I can chat for quite some time about the details of his golf course and his career. What an interesting rise that career was too, wasn't it? Certainly starting a little bit later, which I found quite interesting in his life. Certainly into his 20s, and finding a way into greenkeeping, not realising that how he was going to get into it and where it was going to take him, and sort of enjoying moments. I suppose there was parts of Lance's career where he just really sat and enjoyed going to work every day. He did it a little bit differently, and it was really interesting to hear that, and for him that's what worked. Getting into it, like I said, a little bit later, and then climbing his way through, but enjoying the time along the way. And sometimes you've heard in some of my interviews where, and I've certainly heard talking to superintendents and greenkeepers, where sometimes they'll take a step sideways, and you heard that with Lance, where he sort of got into a position where he was really happy and really enjoyed being at that level that he was at, and going to work every day and just enjoying it, being happy. I mean, he really had some times there, certainly much like where he is right now at Busselton, and he has been for the last sort of 4 years, where he's really enjoying his time there too. So really, really interesting to hear and see. And like I was going to say there before with other superintendents and greenkeepers, where they take that step sideways. They sort of, some of them will get into superintendent's roles, and then they might step back away from it a little bit. They'll get a breakaway. You've heard them change careers to get that rest and then come back in. Lance sort of did it a little bit of a different way, is the way I took it from him, where he just enjoyed some of those other positions, being a greenkeeper on a golf course, not necessarily in the leadership team like he is now as superintendent. So, but isn't he loving it and really, really enjoying it as superintendent at Busselton, and clearly winning that award for excellence in golf course management. Shows you just how smart and switched on and looking ahead and seeing the ways that Lance can improve how procedures are done, how the golf course is maintained in its local environment, in a local area, the way that they do things on course, the way that they go about their maintenance. I mean, he's really, really looking ahead into these things. He's really switched on in how he thinks about how the team are going to work, how they're going to go about their daily work at the golf course, and the things they want to bring out in the landscape and protect and harbour and foster and sort of improve on as well. So much going on there, and you can hear it in Lance's voice when he's getting so excited about it as well. But he also just seems like he really just takes it on each day that unfolds. I really enjoyed chatting with Lance, and he's not a superintendent who's been and experienced overseas work in other parts of the world, but he's really found his niche over there in WA and really found out what he enjoys. And you know what? At the end of the day, if you enjoy what you do for a living every day, what is it they say? Enjoy your work and you'll never work a day in your life, or something along those lines. But Lance really loved it. I enjoyed chatting to Lance, and probably his career path is probably something that I sort of, it resonated with me because I think my career was probably along similar lines. So he and I really got on very well, and you can hear it in his voice. And I've been wanting to chat with Lance. He seems like such a great bloke, and I certainly found out that was true in that podcast. So really enjoyed chatting with Lance. I hope you enjoyed listening to his story, and that award, winning that award, that's massive. Hats off to Lance. Certainly from me, a tip of the hat to Lance, winning that award, and I think it's fantastic stuff. And there's a golf course we want to get to. If you're over there in WA, in southwestern corner of WA, or you're looking to travel to Perth and into the beautiful southwestern corner that's there for golf and a bit of wine and a bit of travelling around the southwest there in the Margaret River region, there's beautiful wines there as well. It's a great place to go to and visit, and certainly why wouldn't you put Busselton on your list to get out there and experience as a golfer as well. So that's what I'm saying out there to you guys, is put Busselton on the map for a place to visit to play golf. Now, ladies and gentlemen, final word from sponsor Colin Campbell Chemicals. And make sure you catch up with Nadeem, whether it's on the phone or online through socials. Catch up, get a chance, meet him out there in some of the seminars and the industry events that you'll see Nadeem at as well. And certainly Colin Campbell Chemicals can help you look after your turf surfaces. And I'm sure they've got something that can give you a hand in how to do that and protect your turf. So that's what they're there for. They can help you out. Go and check them out at campbellchemicals.com.au and check out their product listings to see where they can help you protect your turf. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for taking the time to listen to the Golfing Greenkeeper podcast and Keeper of the Green segment. We know it's a great one, and we really love hearing everyone's stories and as greenkeepers, where they've come from, and certainly about the golf courses that they're working on. If you could please like, share, subscribe, and give me a review, a star review, write a review. Written reviews are wonderful, and I do appreciate that as well. So I'm looking to get a few more written reviews through Apple, through iTunes as well. It's most appreciated, and it really does help spread the podcast, like when you share it around too. And I appreciate those of you who have done so, getting a few more people to come along and listen and hear what we can talk about in the Australian golf landscape from the inside out, and give you more information and educate you along the way. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Really appreciate that support. And I've got a new segment coming at you in a couple of days, one that's jumping into the middle of the normal run and the normal release dates. It's an Aussie golf history segment of Kamarooka Golf Course, and this one is an interview, and you're going to want to listen to it, I can tell you right now. So if you're a bit of a history buff, you want to hear a little bit about something a little bit different in Australia, the Kamarooka story is fantastic, and I know that you will enjoy listening to it. So stay tuned. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned for when it's going to pop up. You'll get a notification on your phone or on your computer, and then you can just quickly download it. I know you're going to enjoy it. As always, you hit 'em clean, we'll keep 'em green. Have yourselves a great weekend.